Hi, I'm Mark Baer. You're watching the Your Town television program. My guest this morning, Darren Lovecchio,
Good morning, sir.
photographer.
That
So,
indeed.
we first met 2017.
Yeah.
And you were rolling then, but you've been really rolling now. And
Yeah.
let's talk about the last year. It's been pretty frenetic.
Yeah, when we met, I was, I was on the launch pad, but then I've been out in orbit this last year alone. Literally just kind of tripled my activity in one year. I'm still pinching myself over it, but I'm grateful. It's happened fast, and it's included a lot of really neat experiences, from the lifestyle of 831 to individuals that I've got to meet and stories you get to hear through all of these encounters with the camera.
Well, I followed you on Instagram, and
Yes.
Instagram is a pretty amazing thing for people who use it to display their work. So,
Yeah.
I kind of keep track of you. You're doing a lot of different stuff. You're doing fashion, food, magazines. You're doing music.
Yeah.
You're doing your personal work.
All the above, yeah.
All the above.
Yeah, I think mostly it's the lifestyle genre, the photojournalistic stuff has been probably the mainstay. And then you layer that in with just the music and lifestyle community of all the artists, whether it's music or art or fashion, and those all blend together fairly well. And then with the magazines that overlay product work and some architectural stuff. And then to keep myself inspired, it's sometimes middle of the night with the Milky Way on a beach somewhere, and I ooh and ah over the site while I'm clicking the shutter. So yeah.
So you're
quite diverse.
I kind of watched you work hard, learn your craft. You started as a photographer early in life. You had a whole nother career as a first responder with the fire department.
Yeah.
You learned situational awareness, and that's always what that's what I've always thought that separated you from a lot of other photographers, because I watch you walk into a scene. I watch you really look around, take it all in, because you're trained to do
From
that.
habit, yeah.
And that was kind of a revelation to me, as realizing that there was a carryover from your past life to this life. And then I've watched you really sort of develop technically over the last years.
There's amazing photographers in this area, and I've met so many of them I can call colleagues and friends and mentors, whether they even knew it or not. They've been my observation skills from that first career, as you say, have paid off in ways that even I didn't realize until afterwards, about just connecting with people, making those observations and seeking out those moments that we share as human beings that are on the more joyous side of things versus the crisis-based side from my first career. So I'm grateful. It's been really an amazing journey.
What do you think separates a photographer from a really good photographer? What do you, as you're learning and as you get better,
It's a challenging question. I think for most of the people that I know that are professional photographers is the composition and paying attention to detail on the technical side, and then the blending that in with being creative and thinking outside of the box, where they're not concerned always with a specific setting on the camera or a number versus how they feel about what they're looking at. People like Brock Bradford, you talk about when you click the shutter, and it's when you feel inspired. Sometimes is the only answer I can give people, versus, oh, well, I had to wait till the sun was here and the light was there. And I mean, those things matter, but there's that other part that's kind of very subjective, and that's that and feeling inspired at that moment.
And I've seen you because you're working all the time. You're out all the time, and doing a variety of genre all the time, mixing it up to kind of keep you fresh. Is your eye getting sharper? Can you feel yourself developing?
Technically, I've definitely come a long way there, particularly the nuances of lighting, if you will, and ambient light. I've learned a great deal from others by observation, if you will, and by being around them, as well as just looking more thoroughly at what comes out of my camera these days and paying more attention to what I want to come out of my camera so that I'm not doing a lot of post-production like I used to, because that's where the work is. Not that I don't mind the work, but it's nice to get what you want out of the camera. Definitely, the clients definitely appreciate that when you're not doing a lot of post-production doctoring, if you will. And so that's changed a great deal. And then, and the other side has changed is I continue to connect and meet new people. This past year, working with Simon Bull, with June Stock, was one of my most profound moments.
Who just passed away. Let's talk about that
yeah.
for a second, because I knew her, and she was a lovely person. Let's tell that story a little bit.
That was amazing. With the magazine Carmel Living and Cypress Coast Living, the publisher Len Farashi, I got the opportunity to do a photo shoot for her to be on the cover as she was turning 100 in the month of June, which my birthday is as well. And so I did this photo shoot with her, and here she is. She's sharp as a tack. Took her a little while to walk across the room with some help, but her own journalistic background. When Len was like, "What are you going to do to make it candid?" And I'm just like, "Hey June, tell me about your journalism." And boy, she was on a roll, and those pictures turned out really well. And then her actual birthday, her 100th birthday with all the family there, and I felt honored to be pretty much the last person to point a camera at her on purpose. And she passed away not too long ago. But that was really the stories that I got from her, and the energy and that smile. And
they lived out in Bird Rock, her husband,
yes.
who also passed away, and he was involved in theater, and I believe at Monterey Peninsula College, there's a theater named after him.
Right, yeah.
So they were
right.
very involved, and she was lovely, and I'm so glad that you got to take her last picture, probably.
No, I will never forget that. I have those in permanently now, and I'm just grateful for those opportunities.
And then you've been very involved with music over the years. And let's talk about your relationship with the music scene and how that's been going.
It's been, when I first started to just go out with my camera, when I figured, well, this is something I can do now that I've got some physical limitations from my first career, and I started to go out. I met people like James Chang, who's been shooting the nightlife scene here for a long time, and in 3-4 short years, I'm actually friends and colleagues with some artists. Zach Freitas, who I watched from going new to now he's making albums. All these people I get to go out and see. These bands are now successful. Some of them are actually hiring me versus the whole show up thing, and we value each other, and it's just really neat to continue to showcase the lifestyle here and the art and what it does for people and how it inspires them, because it inspires me as well.
Yeah, so I guess one thing I wanted to say is, because it's a second career does not mean it's not a professional career.
True.
You're not an amateur at this point, and
No,
also
I do get paid.
You're considered to be a collaborator by many people. That in a lot of group efforts, you become part of a team, whether it's musicians, whether it's something like Dusk that you were very involved in, which was a great event.
Our first encounter at the West End Festival.
At the West End, yeah.
Including some fashion with some young amateur models and Atomic 1800, the store. It's been.
And you were great for me this year with West End. You came in, you did your thing,
so
you
much
shoot,
fun.
and you're gone, and they were still the best pictures.
Being able to still, just as busy as I got with clients that were hiring me, to be able to still show up and do stuff that I want to do was what laid the foundation for me in the first place. And I don't do as much of it as I used to, as I manage more of my workflow, but it's still at the core of why I get the camera and walk out the door.
Let's talk about some of your magazine work. You're working with 3 or 4 magazines right now.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how that's developed.
Well, 65, 57 Degrees Lifestyle Magazine was the first one I got offered with Rich Medell as the publisher, and then Manny Espinoza, who's been a huge mentor for me. I've been with him now almost 4 years, and the encounters and the experiences from what's going on in Pebble Beach and Carmel to helping the magazine get going up in Napa, and now it's booming up there. And I'm meeting winery people.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
meeting
talk
artists.
about the winery stuff, because you shot some great stuff up there.
I get to the honor of calling K.R. Rombauer III, the owner of Rombauer Wines, a friend of mine. We really got to know each other at Simon Bull's Muse Gallery grand opening in St. Helena this past holiday season. And I'm hanging out with these people, and they are established, accomplished business people and artists, and I have a connection with them that goes beyond work. And I'm grateful for that. I crave that. I desire that. And the social aspect of it that aligns along with the experience of taking photographs for them, with them, has been, I don't even know how to explain it. It feels good at the end of the day.
I've also watched you kind of upgrading your equipment and learn technology. And
yeah.
Let's talk about some of your revelations about that. I mean, what's in the camera? What's must-have? What's on your wish list?
Right. Well, I acquired my new camera body not too long ago, so now I have 2, like everyone else. The technology in the cameras these days, I mean, the mirrorless boom that's going on now, where you don't have a moving shutter anymore, and then the dynamic range of these cameras, which from their ability to focus in low light to making a dark room look like a supernova with the range of the light sensor and all the creative things that you can do in the camera that you used to have to do in post. It's phenomenal. But as I've weighed my own options and getting new pieces of equipment, I basically upgraded to the 2nd generation of the body I already have, primarily because the business I did last year with the older body was fantastic. And I think there's a balance to be had between the technology you're using and the user using it. And I guess I'm still old school with the DSLR, but I like looking through the viewfinder. It's just a way, it's part of how I observe so much of what I catch. And some people are better at it not having the viewfinder, but that's my comfort zone. That's where I'm used to being, like in the pocket for the quarterback kind of thing. And if it's not broken, don't fix it has been something I learned from my first career again, that I've applied through my life. So, a good piece of glass, the lens is probably, the lens makes a bigger difference in the body, I think, sometimes. And I know a lot of people that would invest a lot more in the glass itself than maybe the body. And I think that overall, that blend along with your own creativity and inspiration brings the whole package together, at least for me.
Again, your individual passions in this, and I know a lot of it has to do with waking up very early in the morning and shooting at the stars.
Yes, which I'm actually already anxiously awaiting for the early spring to come around, so I can do that again and be up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
I'm used to it.
Let's talk about what you were up to.
Well, it was last year. The Milky Way was very brilliant. I had at least 3 different pictures that I put on a website called Viewbug, and several of them have won like top awards and finalist rankings of between 15, 20,000 entries, and I get in the top 10% or sometimes the top 5%. It's not frequent, but it's nice to be acknowledged by a global audience, and that's kind of the way I measure how I'm doing with the landscapes that inspire me, but also what other eyes of photographers see. So I've been doing that. That's been one of the biggest things this past year, is becoming a finalist in several contests for the first time since I've been on that website. And well, actually, there's a 7-day sunrise challenge going on that Molly Nance does. I've missed 2 of the days. I got up early yesterday for the sunrise, but I did not make it this morning because I had to sleep in so I could be here and lucid.
Yes, lucid.
Lucid is good.
Yes.
So I wanted to be, focused on you instead of on the sunrise this time around.
Yeah. So, and let's just talk about creativity. I mean, what do you advise people to stay inspired? Because you do need to keep your enthusiasm up.
I learned this valuable lesson. In fact, this past summer when I was, things were coming to a head where I was like, okay, I've got 3 times more work than I ever had, and I didn't know that at the time, but I would walk in and get in front of my computer and go, oh, I just don't want to be here. Well, what's wrong with me? And I was just, I stopped taking the time to just be still. And whether it was with my camera in my hand, if I go out and do a sunset or a night shot, 5% of it is actually clicking the shutter. The other 95% of it is just being there and being inspired and appreciating what we still have of this planet of ours.
Yeah, I suppose part of what you do as a photographer is what you want to get out of it is you want to look deeply at things. I mean, that's what you should be gaining out of this this art form.
Yeah, at the core of that heartfelt moments with human contact and the lifestyle stuff, but also just the beauty that's around us and the things that are more positive after seeing all the dark stuff. I shared that with you for our first interview because that continues to be something that calms me because I can still get into that go mode in my head and not slow down, right. Even though I've been retired from that side for almost 8 years now, I guess, yeah. Remember to just breathe sometimes. And whether you bring your camera out, I don't do the landscape stuff, think, I need to get this shot so I can sell the print and make money. That's not the way I'm wired. But at the same time, as a photographer pro and you want to buy new equipment and evolve your stuff, you do have to think about making the almighty dollar so that you can do that. And it's an interesting balance that I think is something you have to pay attention to throughout the whole journey.
So my guest today, Darren Lovecchio, and I'm looking forward to this year, 2020, to do some.
We have some new adventures to be had. For sure.
Collaborations.
Yes.
Yeah, we've laid stuff out. It seems to take forever to get stuff done, but if you stay on it, it does get done.
And that collaborative attitude that all these artists have too. Everyone's proactive that I've met, and that makes it exciting.
You're watching Your Town. You're
Thanks
watching
for having
Darren Lovecchio, and we're out of here. Thank you. Bye.